In honor of her birthday, there is a theory that's been out there for a while. It's been floating around. Royal fans are convinced Meghan Markle is lying about her age. In fact, they think she's older.
I'm very disappointed about it. I don't think that, I've apologized about this thing, what happened.
Oh no, what a shame. What a shame. Here I was preparing a special episode of the show to mark Meghan Markle's 45th birthday. I've got Link Lauren, one of Meghan Markle's biggest supporters.
The palace gates didn't creak tonight, they roared, flung wide by a single number that refuses to stay caged, and if you lean in, you can almost hear the chandeliers in Buckingham vibrating under the weight of two men who have nothing in common except the certainty that Meghan Markle's celebrated 45 was printed from pure fiction. Tom Bower, the biographer whose pen once shattered Robert Maxwell's empire, had been rubbing the dust off an old 17 magazine from March 1997 when he spotted it. Meghan Markle, 21. No blog, no fuzzy screenshot 40 glossy pages after Claire Danes' perfume spread. There it was. Hard ink proof that, if the Duchess was 21 in 1997, she cannot be 45 today unless time itself bends differently for royalty. 200 miles away in Rosarito, Thomas Markle stared at the same clipping and muttered that the dates never lined up even while he paid the ballet fees, drove the muddy Toyota to speech and debate, and baked the sheet cake that said Happy 11th, Bean. Because she was already taller than her candles could handle. Bower didn't trust coincidence, so he ransacked court filings and found Meghan's own briefing notes to Jason Nauf in 2018, buried like dynamite under polite salutations, stating she was 2 when Doria left and Samantha 15, the arithmetic punching a hole straight through 1981 and spitting out 1977 instead. Thomas Markle read that line and went silent. Parents don't need calculators for birthdays, unless saying the date aloud detonates everything their daughter has built atop it. Meanwhile, the palace PR machine kept posting pool jump photos and balloon emojis. But every comment thread curled into the same question. 45 according to whom? Now, Bower remembered a tidbit Samantha Markle dropped years earlier on an Australian morning show dismissed as jealous rambling that Meghan was born closer to 1976. Back then, royal watchers laughed. Today, those laughs sound more like coughs in a dark theater, because the math refuses to behave. In one drawer, Bower kept the original IMDb download listing 1977, scrubbed without audit trail.
No, I choose people who don't want to be written about, on the whole, and whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they've climbed the greasy pole. They want to be famous, they want to be influential, they want to be powerful, and they want to hide their secret.
In the next, he stored screenshots of the Northwestern Salsa Club shot, where every beaming face supposedly shared a birth year in the early 1970s, not early 1980s. One anonymous classmate told him, "We all knew Meghan was older than she claimed," a confession tossed like kerosene onto the House of Windsor's velvet curtains. The plot thickened on a London sidewalk when Bower cornered a Portland hospital insider. 2 epidurals and home to Frogmore in 2 hours? Impossible! The medic hissed, explaining that a catheter-fed epidural isn't a disposable coffee cup you swap mid-labor, and the post-op checks alone outlast an episode of Suits. If Meghan was actually 43 geriatric in obstetric charts, Archie's delivery would have triggered entirely different protocols, making Harry's serene memoir description smell of lavender-scented fabrication. While Bower drove pins into a wall-length timeline, Thomas Markle brewed decaf and replayed the VHs of Nick News from 1993. The segment labels Meghan 12, not 11, when she writes Procter & Gamble, shaving yet another year off the official fairy tale. He thought of Humphrey Yogurt, the shop that swore it never hired 13-year-olds, and of Yasmin Bleeth's 1998 deodorant campaign Meghan claims to have praised in 1994. Every slip tilted the scale toward an earlier birth 1 year, here, 2 there. The way a sculptor chips marble, and suddenly it's a different statue. Across town, palace aides whisper scanned Archie's amended birth certificate, Rachel Meghan Markle erased, replaced by Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex, a move no other modern royal mother had attempted. Official explanation, clerical consistency. Unofficial translation. Remove the civilian name, obscure the paper trail good luck, matching it against that 2011 marriage certificate to Trevor Engelson, or a passport application signed in Studio City under fluorescent DMV light. Thomas Markle watched the news crawl and wondered aloud why a woman confident in her story keeps redacting it. Bauer's next phone call hit like a rifle crack. A former casting assistant from Deal or No Deal swore the production's insurance listed Meghan at 30 in 2006 borderline for a briefcase model, yet backstage everyone joked she could pass for mid-20s. If she were actually 36 then, the gamble paid off. If 30, the Ursum had already shaved 6 years. Hollywood forgives vanity lies. British law does not forgive fraudulent marriage records. Should the 1981 date collapse, legal scholars argue Harry's marriage could be challenged, the Sussex children's titles contested, and that lucrative Netflix docuseries re-examined under breach of contract microscopes hungry for misrepresentation clauses. Back in Montecito, Meghan's Instagram stayed silent except for filtered seaside sunsets. But silence is no longer neutral. It hums, crackles, fills with the specter of subpoenas. Tom Bauer isn't chasing clicks. He smells imminent litigation and sharpens footnotes like blades. Thomas Markle claims he still keeps the scrap of hospital paper with the delivery timestamp tucked between unpaid lighting director invoices, yet he won't produce it. Check the records yourself. He finally told Bauer 6 words heavy enough to bend steel. Because if they dig and find 1977, the empire buckles. If they dig and confirm 1981, the father becomes the unreliable narrator of his own life. The clock is now ticking louder than Big Ben's chimes. A printed teen magazine, a sworn court document, a wiped database entry, a batch of Northwestern birthday cakes, a father's hesitation, and a hospital protocol brief, all pointing like compass needles toward a birth year beginning with 197. Somewhere inside Kensington Palace, risk assessors calculate fallout scenarios, annulment precedent, succession gridlocks, brand valuation slumps. But the Duchess keeps posting balloons, daring the world to prick one and watch what spills out. Tonight ends not with closure, but with a breath held across continents. Will tomorrow deliver the birth certificate that saves, or the whistleblower that sinks? Bauer wasn't interested in stopping at a suspicious magazine entry, a legal filing, or a professional profile that seemed to change without explanation. Those discoveries only convinced him that every public story Meghan Markle had repeated over the years deserved to be measured against one thing she could never negotiate with time itself. If the official birth year was accurate, every milestone should fall neatly into place. If it wasn't, the contradictions would begin revealing themselves one after another. And according to the material in front of him, that's exactly what happened. The first story he revisited was one Meghan had told on some of the world's biggest stages. At the United Nations during interviews, and again at South by Southwest, she proudly recalled writing to Procter & Gamble after seeing what she described as a sexist dish soap commercial when she was just 11 years old. It became one of the defining stories of her public image, proof that she had been challenging injustice since childhood. But when Bauer tracked down the original Nick News footage from 1993, something immediately stood out. The broadcast referred to her as 12 years old, not 11. It may sound insignificant until you realize the same adjustment once again pointed in exactly the same direction. Then came another twist. Vanity Fair reportedly removed references to that famous story from its 2017 profile after questions reportedly emerged during fact-checking. Suddenly, another cornerstone of the carefully built timeline appeared far less stable than it once seemed. Then, Bauer turned toward another frequently repeated story. Meghan had often spoken about working at Humphrey Yogurt in Los Angeles when she was only 13 years old. It fit perfectly with the narrative of humble beginnings and teenage responsibility. But, according to the information discussed in the source material, former management from Humphrey Yogurt reportedly stated they never hired employees that young. That contradiction alone raised eyebrows, but it became even harder to ignore once another memory entered the picture. Meghan described meeting Baywatch actress Yasmin Bleeth while taking trash outside the yogurt shop, and even remembered complimenting Bleeth's Soft and Dree deodorant campaign. Bauer checked the advertising timeline. The campaign associated with Yasmin Bleeth reportedly appeared around 1997 and 1998, several years after the age Meghan claimed she was during that encounter. Either the memory had somehow traveled through time, or the age attached to the story simply wasn't accurate. The same pattern continued when Bauer examined Meghan's account of her first kiss. During a 2013 interview, she described meeting Joshua Silverstein at a Los Angeles theater summer camp around 1993 and 1994. saying both were about 13 years old. Silverstein later became known as a performer who appeared on The Late Late Show with James Corden. Yet different public biography sources listed Silverstein's birth year differently, with several pointing toward 1977 rather than 1980. If those dates were correct, and they truly belonged to the same age group at camp, the timeline again drifted away from 1981 and toward an earlier birth year. One inconsistency could be dismissed. Two might still be coincidence. Four separate stories all bending toward the same conclusion no longer looked random to Bauer. In his investigation, they became a pattern. Just when the investigation appeared centered entirely on Meghan's past, another chapter opened that reached into one of the most significant events in the modern royal family, Archie's birth. Harry described the delivery at the Portland Hospital in London in remarkable detail inside Spare. He wrote about candles, a birthing ball, water, 2 epidurals, and returning home to Frogmore Cottage only 2 hours after Archie was born. On paper, it sounded calm, controlled, and almost cinematic. According to the source material, however, a hospital insider reportedly challenged those details, saying they did not reflect how procedures at Portland Hospital actually worked. Questions reportedly surrounded the description of 2 epidurals, explaining that medication is generally administered through a single catheter rather than separate procedures, while the reported 2-hour journey from delivery to returning home appeared difficult to reconcile with discharge procedures, recovery time, and the drive itself. By now, the investigation had moved well beyond celebrity gossip. According to the source material, Bauer argued that if false information had appeared on official legal documents, the consequences could potentially extend into British law. Questions were raised about the marriage certificate, succession issues, children's titles, and even business agreements built around publicly presented biographical information. Whether those consequences would ever materialize remained unanswered within the source, but the possibility dramatically increased the stakes surrounding the investigation. The source material then pointed to another unusual development surrounding Archie's birth registration. According to the investigation described in the document, the birth certificate was reportedly amended, replacing Rachel Meghan Markle with Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Palace officials reportedly described the change as administrative consistency, while others questioned why such a change had been necessary at all. Bauer interpreted the alteration as making connections between different legal records more difficult to follow. Whether that interpretation ultimately proves correct remains unresolved within the source material, but it became yet another unanswered question added to an already growing list. And that is where the investigation deliberately leaves its audience not with certainty, but with competing timelines that refuse to fit together. According to the document, a printed 1997 magazine, a court of appeal filing, an IMDb profile, Northwestern classmates, public interviews, Thomas Markle's hesitation, and questions surrounding Archie's birth all converge toward the same unresolved mystery. None of those individual elements alone closes the case, yet together they create the central question driving the entire investigation. Did Meghan Markle truly celebrate her 45th birthday, or does another birth year remain hidden behind decades of conflicting records? The source ends without providing a definitive answer, leaving the audience with the same question that continues to echo long after the investigation concludes.